In this demonstration, we'll take a look at how to maintain your Juniper device through the Juniper Web Device Manager. Now, I've already launched the browser and typed in the IP address of my Juniper device, and you can see here that I have a logon screen. So I'll log on with my root account to the Juniper device and wait for the Juniper Web Device Manager to load. Once it loads, you'll notice that we're on the Configuration tab, or the Configure tab. What I want to do here in this example is take a look at how to maintain the device. So I click on the Maintain tab. Now, with the Maintain tab, there's a number of different maintenance options that we have over on the left-hand side. In your config management, this is where you can go and work with your different configuration files for the device itself. And we can, back up a configuration file to the system. We can upload it. We can revert to a previous configuration if we wanted to. Underneath that, we have our software. So this is where you can go and install different software packages on the device. You can manage your licenses here on the licenses link. You can reboot the device if you wanted to. You could take a snapshot of the system image and put it on a different type of media if you wanted to. So if you wanted to be able to boot from a different device, then you could do that. And then finally, we can manage the files that exist on the device. So let's take a look at some of these options. I'm going to go to the config management and choose the upload option. So with your upload, what you can do is you can go and browse your computer for a configuration file that you had previously saved to your local hard drive, and you can upload that configuration file to become the current configuration of the device if you wanted to. So it does mean that you would have previously had to back up a configuration. So to back up a configuration, you can go to the history link on the left-hand side. Now, when I choose history here, you can see I've got my current configuration. I can see I also have previous configurations that I can revert to at any point in time. So if I wanted to revert to a previous configuration, I could select that configuration. You can see over to the right, I can download the configuration, or I can roll back to that configuration if I wanted to. Let me go and download a configuration. I'm going to download my current configuration. So I hit the download link. I'm going to save it to my hard drive, and I'll save it as Boss R1 current. So now that I've saved that configuration, now at a later time you could go back to that upload link and you could upload that configuration. Now keep in mind the history link is a way for you to revert between configuration files without having to download them to your computer. So you can do this just with the configuration of the device itself. So that's how we download our configurations. We could roll back to a configuration if we wanted to. So I could choose this first history config from the CLI, and I could roll back to that configuration. Now, once we roll back to a previous configuration, you'll notice that they drew my attention to the action menu, because the next thing that I need to do is I need to commit that configuration. So the page has refreshed, and I can see here that my old configuration, which was my current configuration from the actual configuration wizard, is now sitting at configuration placeholder number 1, whereas my current configuration is now the configuration that I roll back to. So that's how we can use the revert feature to revert to a previous configuration. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show you here on this page is how to compare configurations. So I can compare my current configuration or any of these configurations against one another. So I'm going to compare the current configuration against my previous configuration and then hit the compare button there. Now, once I hit the compare button, you'll notice that a page displays. They do have a legend up top here. So the red is a removed from the rollback configuration, whereas any green lines are changed items between the two configurations. And then the gray lines are lines that have been added to the current configuration. So if I take a look down here, you can see the rollback configuration 1. So we can see here that this time zone statement has been removed from the configuration. So the current configuration does not have the time zone statement. You can see here the password has been changed between those configurations. Again, we can see that these settings here have been removed. So previously I did have a user called Glenn created, whereas now the current configuration that I have reverted to doesn't have that information. So that's the idea of being able to compare configurations against one another. Very useful feature. Also, on our maintain tab, we can also go and create a rescue configuration, which you can revert to at any point in time just with the keyword rescue. So that's a little bit that we can do underneath configuration management. You can also go to your software and you can upload software packages and install those packages on the system if you wanted to. So if you need to add functionality to the device, then you can do that. As we mentioned, you can manage your licenses as well. So if I click on the licenses link here, you can see that we can add licenses to the device. You can reboot the device if you wanted to. Snapshots, I'll choose the snapshot link here. So you can create a snapshot of your system software and store it on a different type of media if you'd like to. And then finally, a very important feature that I want to show you as far as maintenance goes on the device is the buildup of files on your Juniper device. You can manage those files here in the files link. So we can clean up files. It'll go and perform a number of actions. It'll go and rotate your log files. It'll delete log files from the var log directory, delete temporary files. So it kind of cleans up the actual storage system of the device itself. What I also like here is that you can actually see the size of these different types of files that are being stored on the Juniper device itself. So I can see the database files are using up 5.5 megs here. So in this demonstration, you saw how to maintain your Juniper device through the Juniper Web Device Manager.